Ready and racing.
Welcome to the Dogcast for Greyhound Racing SA. Visit grsa.com.au.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Dogcast, brought to you by Greyhound Racing SA. I'm your host, Brenton Yates, and I'm joined by Greyhound Racing SA's racing manager, Shaun Mathieson, as we get stuck into what is going to be a huge month of greyhound racing, Matho, as we head towards the Nationals with the finals here in South Australia on Saturday, August 24, the straight in the morning and the big ones at night time, the sprint and distance.
It's going to be a massive day that day, but obviously we've got the state finals coming up this Thursday night. 8 years, Yatesy, since the Nationals have been back in SA, and we know Wormburner did us proud on the national stage, particularly on that night in 2016. But we also ran second and third in the staying race as well. So on home soil, we're hard to beat. So let's hope on Thursday night we get get our best dogs through and give ourselves a real chance on the national stage. But it's really exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really building for a big night of racing. We're going to look back at the heats last week of the National Sprint qualifier for the SA division, and we'll also preview the two big finals coming up at Angle Park on Thursday night, the sprint and distance, to see who represents SA on August 24.
The Week in Review.
Our Week in Review is brought to you by the Fresh Pet Food Co. They are proud suppliers of fresh pet food for our GAP SA greyhounds in the GAP prison programs, and they are based right here in South Australia. So go ahead, visit their website, freshpetfoodco.com.au for more info. Matho, we had heats. There was no heats of the distance, so we had some type of prelude, which I guess we'll touch on when we get a bit later on. But we did have three heats of the sprint as we reflect back to last Thursday night. It was the first leg of the quaddie, heat number 1, and taken out by Adhana Rico, going through, winning in 30 and 67. What did you make of the first heat?
Well, there was a bit of money for Adhana Rico, wasn't it? And I suppose having a few runs back, he'd probably been slightly disappointing for what we know Adhana Rico can do. One of our best sprinters, but he certainly turned back the clock, if you like, and there was money for him, and he ran accordingly. Out of the front straight and around into the back straight, he found himself onto the rail. Long haul was off the track after showing good speed, and he just sort of zipped up the inside, and off the back straight, he sort of looked like the race was his, and he ran home quite well, 30.67 as you mentioned. Long haul, did a good job, showed speed, likes to sit wide, and we'll talk about, that dog's drawn okay for him in the final. And Majestic McLaren showed a bit of speed on the inside. We know the dog loves the inside draw, so drew 1, kicked up, held them out. It was probably a bit of a surprise, but I think the power of Adhana Rico into the back straight, again, getting back towards his absolute best. And so if he's anywhere near that on Thursday night, it'll be really hard to beat. So I was impressed by his performance.
Yeah, I think when the money came, you had to be wary. It's sort of an indication from the kennel that they're sort of ready to go. What I liked most about Adhana Rico's win was on the first turn. So there was that pressure. So it had Majestic McLaren the inside, Long Haul the outside, and had to dive between, and really went hard. And I haven't seen it do that for a little while. Have pressure either side to push through and go away and win. I thought was full of merit. Not sure is ideally drawn in the final, but certainly did enough to take out the first heat. Heat number 2, and Victor Marley. It was on the quick backup again. Had the short course win only a few days before, and then backed up into this race. Sat out, moved up, took over, too strong.
Yeah, summed it up perfectly. I suppose the main danger in last week's heats in this heat was Kai Bale. Strong support again for it off an inside draw. Again, it's a dog that really wants the inside, but didn't begin, and it doesn't normally begin great anyway, but found a bit of tightening early, but then got some clear running into the back straight and thought, it's going to click up here. But at this stage, Victor Marley was sort of putting it to Stealth, who initially sort of put it to him, ran past him in the straight and raced away. I mean, Kai Bale got home okay, but it's always going to need some luck. It wants the rail desperately, needs luck in its races. And Chapel Road was a pretty good run, actually. He found it come from a wide draw, bit of tightening early, found itself back to 4th, but ran home well to get to 3rd. But Victor Marley, gosh, he's been a terrific greyhound, over the journey, and the Shadows have got got her really wound up quite well for the final.
Yeah, the most impressive part about that to me was the way she surged off the back to not only take the lead, but then put that little gap on them in the home straight when you had the likes of Kai Bale and Chapel Road running home. I thought it was a really nice, strong win and sort of indicated absolutely back to her best. We had 3 heats, the third and final heat. This is probably visually the most impressive win. Had everything pretty much go against it in the run, didn't begin well, was out the back, got to the outside and just picked them up and put them away. Fantastic spike, running 30 and 57 over Zelda Chaos and Where's Poppy.
Yeah, could not have been any more impressed by this greyhound for the Cheggers. We know he's brilliant over the middle distance, and he's showing how good he is over the 5:30 as well. I mean, gave them a start and a beating, and he didn't give them a little head start. He gave them a pretty decent start, into the back straight. He had many lengths to make up. But turning for home, still a chance. Could he get there or not? But it really put them away really quickly. Raced away. I mean, won by just under a length, but it was just, as you say, very visually impressive by the way he performed. Zelda Chaos held on really well. We'll get to the final. Unfortunately, Zelda Chaos is going to be a scratching for the final. And Where's Poppy for Kieran Corby? So I don't know if she's going as well as what she can. She's normally a really, really hard greyhound to get past, particularly when she leads. So she runs her best races in front. She obviously didn't lead in the heat. She qualified for the final, but that early speed is always going to put her in these races. She ran a good race, but fantastic spike. I just think had a bit of adversity and was able to get the job done.
Yeah, I think that was the most impressive part, was not having it sort of run to suit in a way and just closing out deep. So off the back to the home turn, really made up 3 or 4 lengths like that. And then in the home running was very impressive to be nice and strong through the line. And look, there's no doubt it's going to be a pretty hard to beat in the final, which is an intriguing race, the way the box draws panned out.
Yeah, we're wrapped with the greyhounds we've got for our state final, and whoever does qualify will do us proud. But when we do get to the final, they've all sort of drawn, pretty much where they want to be. So there probably should be no excuses, really.
All right, terrific stuff. Well, it's time to look at the big ones. After the break, we will check out the SA National Sprint and Distance Final for the Nationals, our state divisional.
The preview.
The preview is brought to you by the 2024 National Finals Night, Saturday the 24th of August. It's going to be right here at Angle Park, so join us trackside as SA hosts the Nationals for the first time, as Matho touched on, since 2016. We're also going to have 2 feature Group 1 finals. They're the big ticket items, of course, but for everything else off the track, there's going to be live music, kids entertainment, food trucks, tab giveaways, and much, much more. So just a gold coin donation to enter. So it's open to everyone. The gold coin, of course, is going to go to the Little Heroes Foundation. So it'll be a terrific night of racing. Matho, let's see who's going to represent South Australia. We might kick off with the distance. So this was a best 8 at nominations as far as the final is concerned. Who have we got, and how does the market shape up?
Okay, so we had 12 nominations, which was excellent. And just on that, I mean, we increased the prize money as well as part of the board's funding for our feature races to $25,000 for both of these races. So a terrific prize money on offer for our local participants. We got 12 nominations for the staying race, which we were really happy with. Reduced that to 8 and 2 reserves. Now, the field in box draw order, we got 1 Zipping Neutron, 2 Zinfandel Trace, 3 Dishonest, 4 Just Alfie, 5 Muster, 6 Bedrock Will, 7 Crypto Manelli, and 8 Mixed Dozen. Weblek Delight first reserve, Better Devil second reserve. Now the market, Yatesy, got a market there, and so we've got Zipping Neutron is a favourite at $3. Then Zinfandel Race $3.40, Dishonest in box draw order $31, Just Alfie $26, Muster $5, Bedrock Will $26. Crypto Manelli $3.40 and Mixed Dozen $41. So the market has it pretty wide open with Zipping Neutron from the 1, Zinfandel Trace from the 2, and Crypto Manelli out of the 7, all around that $3.40 mark.
Intriguing final. There's so much storyline to weave through this. We've got Zipping Neutron, who's not in his best form. He's not where we know he can be, but does that mean he can't win this? No. We've got a greyhound having its 10th race start, Zinfandel Trace, who obviously Gavin Harris is exceptional at having these bloodlines that are able to run over a journey, but steps up to the distance range for the first time in the state final of the Nationals. So, I mean, tell us about that. Then you've got Muster, who last week was a big winner, with trouble in behind, but he did everything he had to do. There's not much more he could have done there. And Crypto Manelli, who's probably drawn a bit awkward for how it prefers to race, but can absolutely win. So that's just a sort of a brief outline. I know you don't mind a roughie or two in the race as well, so take us through it, Matho. How do you see this?
Well, I mean, again, I suppose, 3 or 4 months ago, if we were looking at the state distance final, Zipping Neutron would have, been really at the top of the tree, really hard to beat, in dominant form. But he doesn't seem unbeatable at the moment, does he, in the form that he's in? I mean, you've got to hugely respect him. He's our reigning greyhound of the year. Tim Aloisi does a wonderful job with his greyhounds, and he has the record on the board. So, go against him at your risk. But inside draw, not really in the form. I just see him finding his way back in the field and having to come wide. So I'd be a bit inclined to risk him a little bit, but I respect him an awful lot. So, and obviously, he's got the form on the board as well. Zinfandel Trace, Gavin Harris, you've touched on that. He knows what he's doing with stayers and those middle distance dogs. It's sort of the way he breeds with his dogs. Zinfandel Trace on the back of 2 feature wins in the space of her last 5 starts. And every indication shows that she's going to get a journey. Will she get it at her 11th race start? I don't know. And her bloodlines, as you mentioned, she's by Zinfandel Zara, but then you go back, she's out of Wikina, which is the Kieran Corby line. That's not really a staying line. It's sort of more of a sprinting line. But every indication she'll get the journey. So it's a really interesting one with Gavin. And as you mentioned, Crypto Manelli, I think he's got the speed to cross, and he obviously, to run his best race, he needs to lead. And if he leads, he's a really hard dog to get past. So the main challenges in the market all have a bit of a question mark about them. And then, as you mentioned, Muster. I mean, for Jack Trengove, what a wonderful thing that would be if he qualified for a Group 1 national final. This dog's can't knock his form, going really well. So, and stayed out of trouble. So it's really wide open. And then if I look at, we talk about the race last week, could we garnish anything from the race last week? No. The only thing I could really take out of it was some of the dogs that were, doing the 700th the first time. I didn't mind Just Alfie. Found a little bit of trouble early. Everyone found trouble, by the way, but it was actually going okay to the winning post and into the back, got a check. Then down the back, just before the main, it was just going to squeeze through a gap and probably was going to run into maybe a second or third spot, but got tied up in that. I didn't mind the way the dog was travelling at the time. So I think with Lauren and Ryan, another run, they don't really know if this dog can stay, but every indication it was going to be sort of in the mix for the placing. So I don't mind that as a bit more of a roughie outsider, but as I've touched on, we could touch on so many other dogs. Dishonest has got good form, but box 3 for it's got some speed, but then wants to get wide. So I think that does help the inside 2 dogs here, both Zipping Neutron and Zinfandel Trace, to hold that position. But before I sort of nail down my selection, how are you looking for it?
I think you've covered it pretty well. I'm finding it difficult to go past Zipping Neutron. The one I'd want to be with is Zinfandel Trace, but I'm finding it difficult to be tipping her first time at the distance. Obviously, Gavin Harris knows what he's doing, but does she lead? Do you think? Is she going to burn through and hold them, first time up to this range? Or do you think Crypto will get over?
No, I actually think Crypto Manelli might get over and lead. I do think Zinfandel Trace will beat Zipping Neutron out. Every indication over 5:30 is that while she's not, really quick out, she's quick enough. So she can hold.
It's a lot different when you get to the distance.
It is.
Like it is. The speed out of boxes at the sprint is nowhere near what you need out of the 700 boxes. As far as if you can do a 5:35 to the post, you're going to be okay, I reckon, over the 700. So that's the way I see it.
So with her, she desperately wants to rail. So she's actually drawn quite well for her. She won't really go around any other dogs other than I think if Crypto Manelli's in front of her. If she can stay the trip, I think she only really has to run past one dog. If that's the way I'm sort of looking at it, can she do it? I mean, that's the big question mark. So, yeah, I definitely think she can she'll be up on speed, I think. She'll be close enough.
Look, selections, I'm going to go Zipping Neutron to win. I think he can hold more of a position. Now, the best time he's ever run is from box 1 over this track and trip, so you need to take that into account. But, boy, he's seen more of the outside fence at his most recent starts than you'd like. He had that time off, and he's had the 595, the 643s, now a couple of 700 runs. Maybe now he's ready. Maybe it's now. And maybe if he can poke up and even hold a little position, he will want to get off. But I think there's going to be space for him to be able to do that, and he's proven. But look, he's not in tip-top form, but that's not to say he's not going to be on Thursday. So I'm going to tip Zipping Neutron to win. I'm going to tip Zinfandel Trace. I think it's the leader. I think Crypto Manelli's going to have a bit of a time getting over. I thought Dishonest and Muster will both be booting through. And I thought Zinfandel Trace would be the leader, and just the query is the trip, and I can see Zipping Neutron being a bit too strong at the end. Look, Crypto Manelli I have had to put in because if he does get to the rail at any stage, even second or third behind perhaps Zinfandel Trace, then he has to be a chance. And Muster, to do what he did last time, he's going to put himself in the race. He ran a PB last start, and he did everything you could ask of him in that particular race. I've gone 1, 2, 7 and 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to you in a slightly different order. I'm going to tip Zinfandel Trace on top. I just think Gavin Harris, she's a special greyhound. I think she's shown in her 10 starts she is going to be, maybe in 6 months' time we're talking about her as one of the best sprinters or middle distance dogs that we have in the state.
It's certainly a big indication from Gavin, isn't it? Like, it's a massive statement that what he's done here, and he knows what he's doing. So it's a huge lead. Look, it's come up short enough in the market. I mean, that tells you something as well, that there's certainly a fancy there.
So that being the case, I think I'd have her on top. Again, I'm happy to take the risk that she will get the trip. And if she's done nothing wrong so far in her career, so I have her on top. I think Crypto Manelli for second. I think he does get across. I think he's got enough speed to lead, but he has to lead to do his best. I'll put Just Alfie in for third because I think from an exotic point of view, I think it can run a third or fourth. I definitely would be chucking into some exotics, and Zipping Neutron, full respect for him. You'd love to see him qualify again for the national final. He qualified last year for South Australia and did us proud in Victoria, and so it'd be a wonderful achievement if he went back-to-back in the Group 1, so have him for fourth. But it's a pretty wide-open event. I mean, if there's a little bit of trouble, in these staying races, anyone could get their chance. I reckon, a 43-10 Yatesy probably wins it. Probably. I don't think any dog's in the sort of form that can break 43. So I think that opens it up for a number of chances.
All right, very good. What about our other feature? We've got the National Sprint Championship. So race 7 on the program as well, Thursday night.
Yeah, so we're race 4 and race 7 for our features, and it ties in with what's happening nationally because everyone's state finals are aligned, so it'll be back-to-back on Sky 2 and Sky 1. Full coverage, going to be wonderful. But yeah, it's a little bit different for us, but just how it all fits in.
Okay, running through the market now. Zelda Chaos is a scratching. Please note this market is still with Zelda Chaos in the field. So these are the tab fixed markets. So Zelda Chaos not running from box 1. At this stage, Chapel Road will get a start from that. If there's another scratching, though, it becomes a random draw, Matho. So there's no certainty just yet that it gets box 1, but it's looking highly likely that's what happens. So Majestic McLaren from box 2 at $21 on the tab fixed. Kai Bale at $5, number 3. 4 Fantastic Spike is the race favourite at $3.70. 5 Where's Poppy on the tab fixed has had a little bit of early money, 7 into $5 tab fixed. Adhana Rico, box 6 here at $5. Victor Marley box 7 has been $4.60. That's $3.50 out, so a bit of a drift for the heat winner. Long Haul box 8, 17 into $9.50 has had some market support, so that's certainly worth looking at. And Chapel Road has been 21 into 11, maybe on the strength of it gaining a start. But that is with Zelda Chaos in the field. It looks as though at this stage, with no further scratchings, of course, that Chapel Road gets a run from the inside draw. Okay, let's see who represents us, Matho, at the National Finals on August 24 in the sprint.
Well, it's a terrific final, Yatesy, and the way the marbles have fallen, they've all sort of drawn sort of in a nice spot. The only one is probably at Hana Rico, probably want him a bit closer out of 6, but you look at whoever comes from, whether it would be Zelda Chaos or if it happens to be Chapel Road, if that's how it plays out, wants the inside and has speed. So that's sort of what you're looking at. Yep. Majestic McLaren and Kai Bale, who drawn 2 and 3, they want inside. They're both desperate for it. So they're drawn where they want to be. Fantastic Spike, I actually think likes a bit more of a wider draw, but it's shown that it's sort of missing the start a bit and be wide. So I don't think box 4 really hurts it. Where's Poppy out of the 5? Has early speed. Doesn't really matter where she draws. She's going forward. She's got the highest speed to try and lead. Hana Rico, as he touched on, probably would like a bit closer. But then the 7 and 8, Victor Marley and Long Haul, I think they both like that bit of room out wide and have really good speed. So I think if you were looking at the finalists where you want to draw, they're sort of where they are. So I think they will get their chance. Yep. That being the case, if they all get their chance, I'm going to tip what I think is the best dog in the race or who's in the best current form, and that's Fantastic Spike. Can't be any more impressed with him and what he's been doing. And I think he's got a length or two on this field with clear running. And for him, though, that's the key. He's going to probably, wouldn't surprise me if he's last at the winning post on the first occasion. But so long as he's got some clear running, I think the speed will come from out wide. I think the dogs on the inside will drift to the rail, but the speed's out wide, apart from the X factors, if the 9 dog comes out of the 1, yep. Right? But I think Fantastic Spike will just be able to course around, that just off the track a little bit, following the speed, and then I just think the power comes in. He's just got to manoeuvre himself inside and out, probably, and I think turning for home, I think that he'll hopefully be hitting the front and representing SA. I've got him on top because I think that's how the race will pan out. But then afterwards, I think it's a bit of a, who gets the job done. I think Where's Poppy probably has the speed. She probably leads. So I'd have her probably second and Hana Rico for third. So I'm looking at the form to come from out wide. So Fantastic Spike, Where's Poppy at Hana Rico. Probably put Victor Marley in for fourth, only because I have a feeling they're gonna cross, and the ones who want the rail, the Kai Bale and Mathieson, are going to need a lot of luck. What did you think?
Look, I agree with Fantastic Spike. I feel like you'd nearly want him to be last, and sort of because I can see a little bit of scrimmaging as they try and find their positions. He was just so impressive to me that he unloaded, and the thing with him is. You're never going to be out of it. So some of these greyhounds, things are going to pan out that mean they can't win during the race. I don't think he's one of those. I think he's one who can have adversity and still win. So to me, that's important. And I think you've described it well. I see him sitting, back and coming wide, maybe not as wide as some, but getting a run through between the rail and the wide dogs. And if he has what he did last week in the run home, then I think he'll be a bit too strong late. I was so taken by the run at Chapel Road. I'm giving him a huge chance. I think he's a great price. He's drawn where he wants to be. He'll poke up and lead. He was in so much trouble going around that first bend through the pen to the back, wanted to smash down to the inside, and caused all sorts of trouble, not only to itself, but also to Kai Bale, I think it was, in that particular race. And the way he came home at the same sectionals, or maybe slightly better than Kai Bale, I really think he's the big blowout. So I've got it in for second.
He won the Group 3 Mount Gambier Cup.
Mount Gambier Cup winner.
Leading throughout. So and he's a dog desperate for the rail. So I think for him, he's absolutely, if he comes out of the red, puts himself right in the race.
Yeah, I think he's got a huge show. Victor Marley, I'm a real fan. Tipped her last week at the big price, Matt. I'm not sure if you caught on to that.
No. I'm always on when you don't tip odds on favourites, so I'm always got my ears out for them.
And I was taken by the way that she did it. More so, look, she put herself there, but it was off the back and then in the straight that I liked. That bottom end strength is back, and I think that's important. I think that's how she does her best racing. Then the next two, between Kai Bale and Adhana Rico, I want them both in. I'll be taking that 5 in a first 4, by the way, 49736. But Kai Bale I've put in because of the starting price profile. I'm a bit of a fan of following that type of betting strategy. $1.90 last start and heavily backed, and then out to $5.50. That gap to me, I don't mind on the back of one performance that maybe wasn't up to expectation. So I'm going to put it in fourth, but huge respect for Adhana Rico. I was a bit concerned about the inside-outside pressure there. You've got Victor Marley. Long haul will stay up a bit, I understand, but Wes Poppy's going to be showing speed as well. So I just wasn't sure where he gets to in the run, but with clear room, he can win.
So do you see Chapel Road leading?
Yes.
Do you, which puts the dog in the race and almost puts Wes Poppy out of the race to some degree, or makes it harder for her?
Yep.
The dog that's going to be behind Chapel Road, can Kai Bale cross Majestic McLaren? Because Kai Bale comes right into the race if it can.
No, I don't think it crosses. I think it goes in behind. Yep. So I think Majestic McLaren and Chapel Road go together, with Chapel Road having the advantage of the inside and being able to push through hard. And Majestic McLaren won't smash down hard. It will go and hold a bit, which will then mean Wes Poppy's got to work that little bit extra to try and get across both it and Chapel Road. And I think Chapel Road can give a really big sight. Fantastic spike, though. Don't worry, can peel off sectionals to get over the top. And look, Victor Marley, can it sit outside Chapel Road and win? Maybe. I just really like the run home from Chapel Road. I haven't really seen that from the dog before in the style of adversity that it faced, and then picked itself up, got going again, and went as well to the line as Kai Bale, who was the $1.90 favourite. So, that's the tips, Matho. So who was your first 4?
No, so I got fantastic spike, all from out wide. I'm thinking the pressure's going to come. Where's Poppy for second, Adhana Rico for third, and Victor Marley to fill out the 4. As I said, I just think the pressure will come across, and the key for that is I think possibly Where's Poppy crosses, and if Where's Poppy crosses, that makes it quite a lot harder, particularly for the inside 3 dogs. Yep. Said, fantastic spike, like with you. I just want to see him clear running, just stay off the fence a little bit, and just give him a clear run in the final stages. And I could see him getting over the top. No matter who wins, it's such a wonderful race. Whoever wins will obviously represent SA wonderfully well on the Group 1 final on Saturday the 24th of August. But, it's just going to be a wonderful race.
Yeah, and what are the finals worth, Matho? Do you know off the top of your head for the Nationals?
Yeah, so they're $85,000 to the winner. So it's like about $130 in total, which wonderful prize money on offer, both Group 1s on the Saturday night, full Sky 1 coverage on that Saturday night. So it'll be wonderful racing. And you did touch on the Saturday morning as well. We have the Group 3 national final of the Straight Track Championship. Yep. And that's going to be, just a wonderful event. I think the final on that day will be race 10 around 11 o'clock our time. So, some of those Saturday mornings, Yates, can be extremely early. But I think it's around like an 8:30 to 11 o'clock meeting. So, I mean, it's still going to be that's going to be a wonderful meeting as well, because it's going to be also one turn and straight track. So, it'll be a mix of distances. So, definitely if you can't get to Murray Bridge, definitely want to have a look at and then head to Angle Park on the Saturday night.
All right, what about some best bets? What do you like Thursday night at headquarters?
So, Thursday night, I'm going to get the Dogcast followers a winner in the first race.
Right.
So, I'm going to go with race 1, number 7, Rev Leon.
Tell me about this greyhound.
So, last week was actually quite a good run behind Pet Detective, who's actually going really well, by the way, for Ben Rawlings. But Rev Leon ran third. There's a dog in its last 2 runs at Gawler, showed really good speed out of the boxes, ran a really quick time over the 400. It was in that no race 2 weeks ago when it looked the winner. Well, it was going to win, but it was a no race, and that's what can happen. But then ran third last week. Didn't begin well, found a little bit of trouble, ran home really good along the inside. Wants the rail. I think it's got enough speed here to cross, lead, and win, and get all the Dogcast listeners off to a winning note, and then they'll back it up into your best bet.
Okay, well, I got 2.
Okay.
So I'm on the Rooster.
Okay.
So you reckon? How sure you reckon he'll be? Second run back from a break. He's got Fiorano, Mike Khaleesi in the race.
There's a lot of speed in the race.
Yeah. I'm going to go with him.
Gets a good run, though, I think.
Yeah, race 6, number 4, was a total put the pen through last start. He copped a whack at least twice and lost ground. There was money for him in the sense that he held his position strongly in the betting when there was big money coming against him. So that was enough for me to say ready to go. So second run back. And I like Daintree Granite, race 10. I really like the way this greyhound took over and really pushed on late for Lauren Harris last start. And it's the other best bet. So race 6, number 4, race 10, number 3.
He really finished off this race, the last down the home straight, really raced away from the opposition. And Lauren and Ryan are getting a few of those Daintree dogs from across the border and taking 1 or 2 runs, and they really hit their straps. So, I think you're probably on the money. There could be 3 winners for the Dogcast followers.
All right. Thanks for tuning into the Dogcast. Big night Thursday night at Angle Park. We'll see you there.